Hello, my friends. Welcome back to our Summer Wellness Live Q&A. I think this is going to be a short and sweet one because it's already 12:27 and it's sticky out there today with technology, with just systems and structures of getting this out to the world. And thank you so much for hopping on live if you were here before, and I'm sorry I lost you. Um, my baby might wake up any minute now, so I'm going to not ramble today, just get straight to the point. Had some amazing questions come in on our little Instagram poll that I did, some amazing feedback from last week with more questions. So if you watch this, when you watch it, trusting that it's finding you in the divine timing, if anything comes up for you that you'd like to ask me to elaborate on, or it triggers something that you want me to talk about on our next Q&A next Friday, please do just message me on Instagram, send me an email. I always love to chat. Today, I just want to talk to you about reawakening your power. And I call it reawakening because this is how we were born. This is how we came into the world. We came into the world with a lot of potential, with infinite potential. I remember when I learned about DNA for the first time. Would have been like an undergrad university in the early 2000s, and they talked about junk DNA and how only a small percentage of our DNA was active, and they didn't know what the rest of the DNA did, so they called it junk. And now, 20 years later, oh my gosh, I'm aging myself. I can't believe that that was ever called junk DNA, because we are born with so much potential and so much power. And, if this DNA is junk, it's dormant because we have been conditioned not to remember how powerful we are. So what I want you to remember, what the whole theme of Golden Hour is that, everything we need is inside of us. And a lot of us have just been conditioned to forget. And it's nobody's fault. It is how it is. And we're moving from this era of kind of being numbed out and kind of just following the masses and kind of not challenging anything, to not necessarily being a disruptor, but just waking up to the voice of our soul and remembering the light within us and the power that can happen for ourselves and our lives and our family, and how we can change the world when we reawaken this. And essential oils are one of my favorite tools to do that. And I just thought it was so ironic that I reached for myrrh essential oil this week, which is a sacred oil right up there with frankincense, but maybe less used. And it's all about self-guidance. It's the energy of self-guidance. It's the energy of trusting that voice inside of you, of that little niggle of, wait a second, is this possible for me? Do I have to believe that? And I know that it's easier said than done. And a concept that really changed my life only in the past year or so was the concept of pendulums. So this concept of pendulums comes from a book called Reality Transurfing by a Russian author named Vadim. I can't think of his last name off the top of my head. If you're interested, just send me a message. I'll let you know. It was a bestseller in Russia several years ago. And he talks about this idea of pendulums. And if you can just be aware of this, it will change your life. You don't have to do anything else. Just be aware of it. Pendulums are just the way that energy swings, and it sucks us in and makes us forget how powerful we are and makes us believe stories that aren't necessarily true. And it can be very innocent, like the energy of being at a sports event when you're all cheering for the home team and you're all swept up in this collective energy. You can feel it a lot during election cycles with politicians. Anytime that someone says, I have the answers, this is the way, this is the only way, it has to be like this, that's a pendulum, classic pendulum. It can happen in relationships whenever there's like drama, or you're trying to prove your point. You're trying to pull someone into your pendulum. And again, it's not always conscious, it's not always malicious, but when you can be aware of them, you can be like, wait a second, if I can make sure that my energy doesn't get hooked into this, suddenly I could hear my own voice again and what's true for me. So when you use myrrh for self-guidance, every time you smell it, what it's doing is rewiring those neural pathways to be like, wait a second, I can trust myself. What do I need right now? What is true for me? What doesn't feel good that's being kind of forced upon me right now? And I think a lot of people might be nervous to do this in the realm of health because of the pendulum around health, in that doctors know all the answers, that if you are diagnosed with this, it's a death sentence, that only this can treat this. This is dangerous. This is woo. Classic pendulum energy. And if you can just step back and ask yourself, like, wait a second, what feels true for me right now? What am I just going to get really curious about and explore? you can really start to hear yourself and calm your whole nervous system to the point of being able to follow the guidance that's being asked of you during these times. And I think that is what we're moving into in terms of healthcare. And, you know, I think there'll always be a place for doctors and medicine, of course, but it has to be a much more collaborative relationship. And it can only be collaborative if you trust yourself to advocate for yourself and have conversation with your doctor and stand in your power and see where the pendulums are and trust that there can be different ways and there's maybe infinite ways of dealing with something. So I had a question on Instagram about autoimmune disease, and someone had just been diagnosed and they were feeling very fearful because of everything they were reading online, and like, this is the treatment plan, this is the only thing that you can use that works, these are the symptoms that you can expect, this is the outcome. And she's like, I feel helpless because I don't want to believe that, but this is what I'm being told. And I just said, like, what if you didn't have to believe that? What if that's just, that can be true for some people, but what if that didn't have to be true for you? And suddenly I could just see her relax and start to, discover the capacity to look for other options that felt better for her. And when it comes to autoimmunity for me, I've dealt with this in my own family at a very intimate, immediate level. So I understand the stress that comes with a diagnosis like that and the strong pendulum that exists with diagnosis like this. But if you can just flip your thinking about autoimmunity, if that's all you do is lose the pendulum, unhook yourself from the pendulum that an autoimmune condition is a death sentence, and that an autoimmune condition is your body attacking itself. What if your body, like, I was like, why would your body attack itself? Your body loves you. Your body is always working for you. Nature wants to be in homeostasis. Homeostasis means balance. So if something is happening with your immune system, it's what if it's not your body attacking you, but what if it's your body trying to protect you and trying to be like, oh my gosh, okay, something's happening here. I want to support her. I want to bring her back into balance. And, you know, it's overcompensating in a way because things aren't communicating properly. It's an entirely different way of looking at something than your body is attacking you. Right? Do you feel that? Do you feel the difference? So these are the conversations you can start having with yourself around the pendulums in healthcare and guiding yourself and just trusting that self-guidance that just things can look different. So that's my little spiel about that. And then On Guard. I want to talk about On Guard because there's an amazing sale happening in North America next week on Guard. It's a back to school sale. And if you have been in doTERRA land for a little bit, you'll know that On Guard is the immune blend. It is an amazing blend of cinnamon, clove, wild orange, eucalyptus, rosemary. And it is a really, really effective blend against seasonal threats. I have to be careful like how I talk about these things. And again, I would love just to tap you into a different way of looking at the immune system and looking at seasonal threats. And what if we didn't have to be afraid of things? What if we didn't have to hunker down and, protect ourselves? What if this is a blend that can just really help you ground your internal environment so you can face the external environment with a new power and not be afraid of what's out there and just really trust that your cells are working for you. And this brings me to a conversation around why essential oils are so impactful for the immune system in this capacity. It's because essential oils are very unique in that they can cross cell membranes. So the molecules in the essential oil can actually cross the cell membrane, get into the cell, again, help bring it back into proper homeostasis so your cells can do what they are designed to do, which is work together to create healthy systems, to create a healthy body. So whatever seasonal threat is put into your path, you can work with it in a way that you aren't taken to the ground, okay? And what makes essential oils really unique in that capacity is because in pure essential oils, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of molecules. Whereas more traditional antiviral, antibacterial treatments are single compounds that your body and the viruses and bacteria can start to recognize and be like, haha, can't trick me. And this is how resistance happens, how antibacterial resistance happens, and why we're kind of in a conundrum with many antibiotics because the body develops resistance to them. and bacteria develop resistance, not the body, the bacteria develop resistance to them, and they don't work anymore. And that doesn't happen with essential oils as often, if at all, because of the complexity of the number of molecules in the bottle. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, viruses can be sneaky and they can hide out in the cell. So the fact that essential oils can cross the cellular membrane and get into our cells is what makes them such powerful antiviral agents. So if you want to stock up on On Guard next week, if you live in North America, it would be an amazing time just for, the fact that, I hate to say it, but summer is almost half over. We're heading back to school in September, if not end of August. And chances are, like, your kids, your family, you are going to be exposed to more seasonal threats. So starting to work with rhythms right now to get these beautiful molecules into your cells, to bring your cells into homeostasis, to start reconditioning your internal environment so you can face the external environment in more grounded, calm ways will change the game when it comes to seasons and these seasonal threats that are kind of thrown into our path. So it's an amazing essential oil for that, On Guard. And yeah, just for me this week is all about, again, just remembering self-trust, remembering that there's so many stories out there that aren't ours, and it's up to us right now to kind of untangle what's ours and what's not ours, and decide that our lives and our health can look different. And the fact that you're watching this video right now means that you're starting to believe that, maybe. And if I can be that example for you, I'm so happy to do that. And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about this week. So I know this, as I said, this one's going to be short and sweet, but I'm always here to answer your questions around essential oils and what's working for me right now, what could help you. Again, remember how powerful you are. Start to work with your tools in different ways. I'm really all about working with the word rhythm right now instead of routine. Routine feels very restrictive to me. And again, this is a pendulum that, you can only be successful with a rigid routine, with consistency. You have to do it this way. If you don't do it this way, you're not going to get the results you want. Classic pendulum. Me, I'm all about, okay, let me just get into the rhythm of reaching for my oils every day, learning to feel how I feel with them, having little touch points throughout the day. It doesn't matter if I'm reaching for my On Guard at 8 a.m. or if the next day it happens at 3 p.m. or if it becomes just like a weekly habit. I'm developing a rhythm, and that feels really good to me. So just inviting you to start listening to what works for you. And if you want to take it even deeper, I think, again, personally, just the concept of pendulums and just being aware of them can 100% change the game. But if you want to take it even deeper and really work with how your life can feel really good, there's a concept called human design, and it blends astrology, it blends something called the gene keys, it blends a whole bunch of kind of ancient esoteric theories into this concept that as human beings, we are all unique, we're all designed differently. So how screwed up is it that we are kind of forced to live in a world where there's one way, right? Where this is what you have to do to be successful. This is what you have to do to be healthy. This is what you have to do to be, whatever. We all have different design. And if you understand your design, you can start to work with these systems that are on us in a different way. And it can just be really, really enlightening. We all have different ways that we express our energy. We all have different ways that we connect with our community. We all have different ways, different things fuel us. So the fact that we're all kind of taught that we have to be forced into this box and live in this world, and this is the only way, doesn't make sense, does it? So again, just being aware of that is enough. But if you want to take it even deeper and then start to leverage how, with your personal design, you can work with these systems, I found human design to be a really, really fun tool. And then again, if you layer in essential oils on top of that, you can start to use your limbic system to rewire these neural pathways to remind yourself, because I know sometimes you come to chats like this and you feel expanded and you feel like there's tons of potential and you get it, but then you forget to actually do it and nothing changes. So essential oils and the aroma can really help anchor in all of these new ideas and help to start you actually believe that it's possible for you, to help you actually believe that you can trust yourself and that life can look different than you were taught. That is the power of aroma. Okay, I'm going to end it here because it's been 15 minutes and no one has popped on live since I was having my tech issues before. But again, thank you so much for watching the replay. I hope something here sparked something fun for you, or there was just a reminder for you. And we'll see you here next week.